The title of our story is A Windy Day on the Back Bay. Ruby missed her friend Kirby. She hadn't seen him in weeks. High winds made the water too rough to swim. Ruby decided to send a message to Kirby. She swam to the edge of the deep water and asked Dewey if he would take the letter across the bay to Kirby. "Absolutely," he replied. "Just toss it here." Ruby tossed up the letter, and Dewey leapt into the air. All of a sudden, a great wind blew. The wind carried the letter away. "Catch that letter!" "I've got it," said Pop. "No, I'll get it," said Petey. "Me, me," said Pico. "Let me," said Pooh. "I'll catch it." And she did. At that very moment, a great wind blew. The wind carried the letter over the marsh by the alligator hole. There by his hole sat Gum. That's short for Gumbo. He was the oldest gator around, so old that he had no teeth. He opened his massive jaws, and he clamped down on the letter. At that very moment, a great wind blew. The wind swiped the letter from his toothless gums. The snakes decided that they would climb a tree to make a lasso and pull it down. They slithered up the tree. At that very moment, a great wind blew. "Snatch it! Snatch it! Snatch it!" cried the snakes. Plato heard their cries, and he swooped in. "Whoop, whoop! I'll catch it with my bill. Whoop, whoop!" At that very moment, a great wind blew. Plato twirled one way, the letter twirled the other way. Plato's friend Fred soared in for the save, but the wind was strong and steady. It sent Fred into a whirlwind. "I give up," said Fred. He was exhausted. "Maybe Spike can do it." "Yo, Spike, catch that letter." "I can't reach." "Hey, Bongo, climb up." "Pip, you get on top." "Reach high." But the letter was still too high. It went right over their heads. At that very moment, a great wind blew. The letter flew towards the fox den. Frida and Diego saw the letter coming. As the letter drifted between them, both dove for it, bumped their heads, and fell to the ground. Tattoo heard all the commotion. He couldn't possibly catch the letter, so instead he whistled for Sonny and Sue. They were the fastest blackbirds around. If Sonny and Sue couldn't catch that letter, no one could. Sonny swooped in, Sue swooped out, and at that very moment, a great wind blew, and the letter swooped away. Kirby was resting in the sand, as crabs often do. When he looked up, he saw something floating in the air above him. He stretched out his claw, and he pinched it from the air. It was a letter, and it had his name on it. It was from his friend Ruby. He unrolled the letter, and it read, "I miss you." Kirby missed Ruby too. At that very moment, the wind calmed. The end. Every morning of every day, a crane named Fred flies to the bay. He stands there tall, he stands there proud, waiting for the fishing crowd. Fred loves fishing. He can't tell time, but needs no clock. The fish start jumping when the bait boat docks. The air is filled with a fishy smell. The day has started. He can tell. Fred loves fishing. As the fishers flock to cast their lines, the seagulls squawk like they've lost their minds. The walkers walk, the riders roll. People are fishing, young and old. Fred loves fishing. He keeps his eye on everyone and waits till lunchtime has begun. Each day Fred has the same old plan: to inspect each cooler, grill, and can. Fred loves fishing. For the baggies full of juicy grapes, the bread crusts falling off the plates, catfish, crawfish, shrimp galore, cookies, pizza, apple cores, bologna, macaroni, fried chicken legs, potato chips, French onion dip, hard-boiled eggs. Fred doesn't need a market or a grocery store. One day of fishing guarantees all of this and more. Fred loves fishing. Gumbo and snacks, relax. It was early morning on the causeway, and the critters were beginning to stir. Gumbo, the oldest alligator in the marsh, would sit in the warm sun next to the bay. His friend Snacks, the raccoon, would meet him there. They did this every day, unless it rained, of course. They loved to watch the clouds roll over, forming puffy shapes in the sky. They loved to just sit and watch the world go by. So they leaned back, got comfortable, and looked up to the sky. Plato, clumsy Plato, swoops by to say hi.
Whoop, whoop. What do you two spy with your little eyes? Whoop, whoop.
Well,
replied Gumbo,
we just saw a coyote howling at the moon.
Ah, the moon, in the middle of the day. Ah, whoop, 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 whoop.
and he kept on whooping till he flip-flopped out of sight. So they leaned back, got comfortable, and looked up to the sky. Millie comes slithering out of the grass, because that's where grass snakes live, you know.
So what are you two sitting here, staring into space for?
Gumbo and I just saw a great big shark swim by, and a baby shark too, said Snacks.
Seriously, you two are silly. There are no sharks in the Fae.
Millie chuckled and slithered away. So they leaned back, got comfortable, and looked up at the sky.
Do. Hello!
Yelped Diego.
You two been sitting here all day. What's so interesting?
We just saw an eagle. A big, beautiful eagle,
replied Gumbo. Yeah, he was bigger than an airplane, said Snacks.
Bigger than an airplane? You two must be dreaming. There are no eagles that big.
He laughed, and then he skipped away. So they leaned back, got comfortable, and then Snacks looked at Gumbo. Gumbo, I don't think anybody believes us when we tell them what we saw today. Plato didn't believe us about the coyote howling at the moon. Millie didn't believe us when we told her about the mama shark with the baby shark. Diego, he didn't believe there was an eagle bigger than an airplane.
Well,
said Gumbo.
sometimes it's hard for someone to believe in something if they don't see it with their own eyes. We see pictures in the clouds. Others might look at those same clouds and just see clouds.
I like watching the clouds with you, Gumbo,
Me too.
was his reply. Do you think we'll see something interesting tomorrow, Gumbo?
I sure hope so.
Gumbo answered. Well, until tomorrow. See you later, alligator.
See you soon, raccoon.
The end.